Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Jay and Rob Toy Show. And boy, oh boy, do we have an action-packed, non-stop thrill ride ready for you this evening. Before we get started, I got to bring in my partner, my cohort, my best friend, that guy you all know and love, the Scooby-Doo to my Shaggy, Mr. Jay Bartlett. Jay, how are you doing tonight, my friend? It is a big show for us for a number of reasons. How's it going?
I'm super pumped, man. This is like a dream come true. Our guest, I'm freaking so excited. We briefly spoke to him backstage a little bit, and I was like, remain composed. I'm good, man. It's been a long week. The weather here is cold again, which really sucks considering it's the 1st of March. I'm waiting for summer, for spring. I can't wait. But other than that, it's been a good week for collecting. I'm anxious to show you what I picked up this week at the end of the show. How about yourself?
It's been going great, of course. I have been really anxious to reveal our big news that we've been teasing for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And now we can finally reveal most of it tonight on our show live to everybody that's watching on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, and everybody that gets to listen to the audio side of this, of course, later on Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts as well. So everybody's going to be within the loop soon enough. You mentioned our guest. We have a very special guest this evening, and that's Mr. Larry Kenney.
Wow.
Of Thundercats fame, of cereal commercial fame, too. Like, that's kind of the part that got me excited. I'm a huge Count Chocula fan. And
yeah.
When I was doing research on our guest, of course, I was like, oh my God, the voice of Count Chocula. Yes, I can't wait. And of course, you're like, but Lino, dude. Lino. I'm like,
You ever heard of Thundercats? Heard of Thundercats? And you know what? When I was researching as well, he was a character in Red Dead Redemption 2. So he's done some game work, some game voiceover as well, which is really, really cool, man. Interesting.
The coolest part is, you know, we get a lot of series reboots nowadays with throwbacks where they get to bring people from the original iterations. And you know that I love the 2011 version of Thundercats. Yeah. And Larry, of course, was a voice on that as well. So that's cool that there's some continuity there as well. I want to say hi to everybody that's watching in the chat. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Tommy. Hi, Scott. Hi, Chad. Hey, Nathan. Quick flash for all you guys up there. We really appreciate you guys watching. Jay, I want to get to our icebreaker, but of course, remind everybody that is listening on the audio side, give us a review. Give us 5 stars. Let us know how we're doing so other people can find the show. And if you are watching on the video side right now, give us a big like. Smash that like button. Smash that heart button. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that bell notification so you can get notified the next time that we go live and anytime we upload amazing, fun content like we're about to have with our special guest this evening. Jay, our icebreaker this week. This is something that's been plaguing the video game world for a while now, and we're starting to see it creep in maybe towards the adult collector side of things, and that is blind boxes. Blind boxes, as you know, are becoming a plague in the world of video gaming, borderlining on gambling, depending on the circumstances and the cost for these and the whole pay-to-play ratio. Would you welcome blind boxes in the world of adult collecting for action figures, or is that a strict no-go for you?
Blind boxes have been huge in Japanese toy collecting for decades now. It's nothing new over there. We've seen them creep over here the last 5 years. I've been a victim to 1 or 2 Star Wars blind boxes I've purchased. They're just usually little 2-inch figures, and they'll show you on the box, of course, everyone you can collect in the set, the odds of each character, which kind of helps as well. I'm not a gambling guy myself, so I don't like that. So, and there's always, you know, Luke will be like the hardest one to get or whatever. So I got a few and I got a couple, but I don't really like them. I especially don't like loot crates or loot boxes in video games. But again, I don't have a gambling issue, so I don't have that kind of addictive personality. I don't believe in the odds. I like the sure thing is what I'm trying to get at. How about you?
See, unfortunately, I hate the fact that the LOL boxes and those, even some of the like the small 2-inch ones, show you the odds because it just teases you just a little bit more. In terms of the adult collector world, I would probably buy into something. You know, if we knew we were going to get a figure, you know, like a Super 7 style figure designed by the Horseman or something by NECA, or even the stuff that McFarlane's doing or Mezco, if I had to pay a few dollars less, I don't want to pay the same amount for a figure I'm not guaranteed, but instead of paying like $50 or $45 US for a figure, if I had only had to pay $30 and I got a random one, I would probably try that, because a lot of those figures are really good. Now, a lot of the time we don't have a huge wave of figures to pick from, so that's also something that would impact the choice. I don't want to get like a 1 in 4 odds of getting, you know, one figure, or find out that, say, Leonardo, if it's a Super 7 TMNT Ultimate, is like 1 in 50 chance, and I'm stuck with, you know, 30 foot soldiers. Although that could be a great way to army build. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I'm with you there. And of course, the main characters that you want, the heroes and the main villains, will always be difficult to get. That's how they make money, and they have every right to do so. I don't subscribe to it. I don't recall a 3 or 6 inch blind box action figure line. So if anyone knows of one out there, throw it in the chat. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I don't know. I might try it for fun, but then, like you said, you know, if you don't get Leonardo, are you going to spend $100? And then if you don't get Leonardo and you've just blown $100, see, myself, I would feel like crap. That's why I don't get them. I don't like putting money in and not getting something guaranteed, right? I don't like that. So
I have a feeling that if Lino was a character, you would probably race at the opportunity, even if the odds were like 1 out of 52 or something like that. You'd be plunking down some hard cash to get Lino or Mumra from a Thundercats line, yeah?
Well, you're talking about Lionel, and that's a little different. I think I would spend a couple hundred to get Lionel.
Well, you're talking about heroes, and we got to talk about the preeminent heroes, those staple, hardcore, iconic, pillar-type hero characters, especially from 80s cartoons. And, of course, our special guest tonight is Mr. Larry Kenney. I want to thank everybody who's been joining our chat as we get underway. Scott Wad, Lisa, Nathan, who's saying his anxiety would go through the roof with blind boxes. Yeah, I completely understand, Nathan. Let's get to the main event, Jay. Let's bring on our guest, Mr. Larry Kenney, and talk all about heroes. So we're going to talk about his career, the ups and downs, everything in between. If you've got questions, feel free to fire it in the chat. Again, this is the perfect time to hit subscribe and smash that like button. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Larry Kenney to the chat. Larry, welcome to the show. How are you this evening, my friend?
Uh-oh.
I think Larry's pausing on us for dramatic impact. Larry, can you hear us? Larry needs 1 second.
1 second.
Okay, so we're going to give him a few minutes. Oh.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. We've got him back. Okay, we can hear you now. That familiar velvety tone.
Sorry. Apparently, I have a mute button on my microphone. I never knew that. Sorry about that.
We learn something every week on the Jay and Rob Choi Show, Larry, so it's okay. We do that all the time. Thank you for taking the time to stop by and grace us with your presence. It's an understatement to say how much you've impacted, you know, both Jay and myself, let alone everybody that's watching at this moment. So just a pause to say thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Jay because I know we've got a list of questions, but he's got a question that may be the most essential question. So, Jay, I'm going to turn it over to you to fire a question off to Larry.
Larry, my friend, how are you? I'm trying my best right now not to geek out. This is really, really super cool. We've spoke a lot on Facebook to finally get to meet you face to face, as close to face as we can. So, thank you. I want to start this off. Your voice in the original Thundercats, you do a bunch of characters, which I didn't know. You do Lion-O and Jackalman, and one of my favorites, Safari Joe, is a very obscure character. How did you come up with the voice of Lion-O? Was it something that you, is it like your normal speaking voice, or how did you come up with that exact voice for that character?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. It's great to meet you finally, after talking with Jay on Facebook a lot. Well, actually, you're right. Lion-O's voice is actually just my voice. I always tell people here's the difference is when I'm here talking with you guys, my voice sounds like this. Sword of omens, come to my hand, I, Lion-O, command it. But on TV, it sounds like this. Sword of omens, come to my hand, I, Lion-O, command it. Same voice, a little more drama.
Ah, it's so wicked.
Thank you, folks. Everybody, we're ending on the high note. It's okay. It's not going to get better than that. This is
Good night.
awesome. We appreciate it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and Larry, I got to tell you, I'm not like a huge Thundercats fan. It's easily in my top 10 shows of all time for sure.
Okay.
But even I have like goosebumps and the hair is standing everywhere. Like that was wicked.
Thank you.
I gotta ask, what was the audition process like for Thundercats or any of those shows? How did you go through the ringer to land? I mean, a coveted spot like Lino. Mm-hmm. I know like in other shows, like casting those lead characters, the hero, it gets pretty intense. So what was that like for you?
Well, I walked into the auditioning place, and there were about 100 other guys there waiting to go into the studio and do their thing. When you first walked in, first of all, they had the walls of the place were covered with drawings, of renderings of the characters, what they look like, Third Earth, what it looked like, and the Thunder Tank, all that stuff, And then they gave us each a synopsis, a paper with a synopsis of all the characters, briefly, one paragraph of what the character's role is and stuff like that. But the main thing they told us was for the Thundercats characters, we don't want cartoon voices. We want them to sound like humans because they're half human, and half cat, and hence the name. And so they wanted us to make it not sound cartoony for the heroes themselves, the Thundercats. Now, when it came to the mutants, that's where we got to chew the scenery, as we say, a little bit. Every actor likes to play the bad guys, because you get to be really and really emote, and just be ridiculous with it. But so, for example, they said, well, first of all, they said when it was my turn to go into the studio, they said, which two characters, pick two characters, one Thundercat and one mutant that you'd like to try out for. So I said, well, to myself, I may as well try out for the big guy, the leader of the Lord of the Thundercats, Lionel. So I said, I'll try it for that. And I kind of liked the drawing of Jackal Man. So I said, I'll try for that too, So I did, and was very fortunate to get both of them. And then, of course, once we started recording the show, there were only 5 of us in the cast, sometimes 6. And we did 130 episodes. So we all ended up doing hundreds of voices. I mean, lots and lots of voices. But those are the 2 main ones that I did, Lionel and Thundercats. And I think, Jay, you mentioned Safari Joe, right?
Safari Joe, yeah, he is actually one of my favorites.
Hey, all right there, Safari Joe. One of my favorite characters.
Yeah, Safari Joe was only in a few episodes, but he's just
he was.
I don't know. You just see, like you just said, you just see a character and you're drawn to them for whatever reason. That was me to that character. So that's fantastic. I was gonna ask you. My next question was, do you have any Thundercats memorabilia? But I can see there, in the room you're in, that you have a snowman painting. You have a Lionel. It looks like a 12-inch. What is that on the back? Yeah, you have a ton of stuff.
Yeah, this is my I call it my career room or my office where I keep all the memorabilia that I have. I don't have as many as you guys. I can't believe how many I see behind each of you guys of different characters and different shows. It's incredible.
I think Rob and I can very much relate to Lionel and the fact that we are children in men's bodies as well, right? So sometimes, we don't grow up. But yeah, I was, because a lot of actors such as yourself, sometimes they don't, it's just a job for them and they kind of leave it behind. But I was very curious to see if you were a collector, and it looks like you are. That's awesome.
Well, I'm becoming one. I'm becoming one. When we did the show, and of course you guys know it was back in the mid '80s. When we got near the end of each show, let's say with Thundercats, we did Thundercats first for Rankin Bass, then we did several other shows, Silverhawks, Tiger Sharks, and Karate Cat, and all those things. But for the last couple of recording sessions on each show, the producers would bring in boxes of animation cells. And they, if you're old enough to remember animation cells.
Yeah.
You guys, you can explain to the younger people later what animation cells are. And they said, guys, help yourself. If you like some of these animation cells, they're just going to be thrown away, so you may as well. So I think I grabbed 2 or 3 of them. I still have one Jackalman animation cell, which I've discovered on the internet is worth $800 now, unsigned.
Unsigned, yeah.
I don't think any of the other cast members took a bunch of them either, but we're all wishing we had grabbed boxes and boxes of those things. Who knew, right? Nobody had any idea it was going to be so big.
That's really cool. Rob's actually a huge collector of Masters Universe cells as well. So Rob, you know all about that.
Yeah, a huge fan when it comes to animation and cartoons, and I'm about to start a doc on cartoon history, and one super fan isn't even doing it justice attempt to create an unofficial cartoon. So we're going to be talking to a lot of people in the animation industry and a lot of voiceover actors. So I'm definitely going to have to reach out to you about that, Larry, so we can get some of these tales and what that process was. But according to process, let me ask you, what was like some of the most intense days that you remember working on Thundercats or Silverhawks or Tiger Shark? Because like you said, there's only 5 of you, sometimes 6, and you're swapping voices. Paint a picture for what it was like during production when you get called in. How many other people are in the room? Are you doing both characters like back and forth? Or are you just doing one character and then going back to the top of the script? What was it like working on those shows?
Well, I'll just begin by saying it was the most fun I've ever had in my career, and I've done I've done lots of things in different areas of show business. I've been in a couple of movies. I was a host of a game show in New York for a few years. I did a couple of soap operas. Wow. Of course, I was a disc jockey for years and years and years in Chicago and New York, and I even did comedy albums actually. So I've done a lot, pretty much the gamut of what you can do in this business, and I had more fun doing Thundercats and the other cartoon series than in anything else. Mostly because of the rest of the people I worked with. We had a cast of people that were the best in the business. And the animators were fantastic. The music, especially for Thundercats, was when that first came on the air, everybody went, "Whoa, heavy metal on a cartoon show, a kids' cartoon show." So anyway, to get back to your question, it was just fun. It was just, we had a ball every time we recorded. I mean, it's work, and you work your butt off. But you work your butt off even more, I think, when it's fun, when you're having fun, because you really want to make it right. You know what I mean? You don't want to just say your lines. I mean, I've been on things where I don't want to name them, but you can tell it's just the producers don't know what they're doing and this and that, and then so you get through it. You do the best you can. But on something like Thundercats, Silverhawks, and these Rankin Bass shows, I could tell that every actor in there was just. And they were great actors: Earl Hammond, Earl Hyman, Bob McFadden, Lynn Lipton. I'm going to leave some people out. I hope not. Peter Newman, the best in the business. And that also pushes you harder. When you're working with the best people in the business, and that, it brings out the best in you. It really does. I mean, you want to really shine. You want to really do your best, and that's the way it was.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you, Larry. I just thought of it right now. It's not even on my notepad here. Rob and I are obviously huge fans of nerd culture and all that kind of thing. Well, how do you feel about a show like Thundercats that debuted in '85, and it's still kept alive today by the fans and these conventions? How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, who knew? If you'd asked me, what has it been, 35 years now? 35 years. We first started recording Thundercats in '85. 36 years, I guess. None of us knew. Well, in show business, you never know whether you're doing a movie or a play or a a concert, anything, when the public decides what's good and what's bad. You never know. Like I said earlier, we could tell that the writing was great, the music was great, everything was great, the cast was fantastic, but that doesn't always guarantee success, in any field.
Sure.
There's been some really well done television shows and movies that nobody remembers for different reasons, and especially on television, because no matter how well we did, no matter how good a show we made, always in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, if the network doesn't promote it, and if they don't sell the merchandise right or whatever, it can't be a hit. So many things have to come together for it to be really, incredible.
Sure. Yeah.
Be a big hit,
Yeah, I mean,
Larry,
go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead, Jay.
I was
No,
just going
go
to say it's amazing to me over the years how, there's been a couple of Thundercat reboots now. I love the original, but it's just amazing to see, like you said, something 35, 36 years ago. And even if they didn't do any reboots for the show, I still think we'd be here today just celebrating how fantastic that show was. So again, thank you for everything, honestly.
Thank you for
Larry,
watching.
Larry, you mentioned fandom, and you never know when the hits are going to come and how that's going to echo out years and years later, because it's so hard in this industry to ever predict. If people could predict, the entertainment landscape would be a lot different, or it'd be all the same stuff all the time. I'm curious, because there's always a lot of great stories out there. What is the coolest fan interaction that you've had that's really taken you back from a fan that you never... I don't know, just something that caught you off guard when you met like a true fan of yours or the show? What was that moment? No pressure.
I still thank you. Yeah, I still tear up sometimes, and my wife will verify this. At Comic-Cons, for example, when people will stand in line, for an hour to get my autograph and to say hi. And sometimes people get very emotional, and they say things like, I didn't have a very good childhood. And you know what they're talking about. I know what they mean by that. But they would say, but when I went into my room and watched Thundercats for that half hour, all that stuff went away. And they start crying, and I know what went on there probably. You know what I'm saying? Abuse, people being outcast, whatever. So I learned very early on, especially after Comic-Cons began, because that's when you really get to meet the fans for the first time. I mean, at a gas station, some guy might say, "What do you do for a living?" And you tell him, "Oh, I was a Thundercats fan." But you learn that's oh, geez, it's hard for me to say. I have such a feeling of guardianship for the legacy of Thundercats because of what the show means. People have told me it means to them, not just a cartoon show, but something that taught me, a lot of people say, my moral code. We had that code of Thundera and pushed that a lot on the show. I shouldn't say pushed it, but that was the basis of the show, which was different from a lot of the cartoon shows, the animated shows. So I understand what they're talking about. And I also tell them often, usually I say to them, like, if they're embarrassed about the fact that they're geeking out or something, I say, listen, man, I'm telling you, when I was your age, if I heard that Jay Ward or Mel Blanc or any of the big people, the cartoons when I was a kid were in my town and I could go see them, I would have been the first online, waiting for 3 nights and out on the sidewalk. So I know how it feels to them. I try to give them everything I can,
That's awesome. I want you to do me a favor, though, Larry. Next time you're at a gas station and someone asks what you do, I want you to tell them you're the leader of the Thundercats and you're prepared to show them the Sword of Omens, just for the reaction. Just for the reaction alone. I think that might be fun.
I'll try it and I'll get back to you about that. If I don't,
okay.
If I don't get beat up, I'll tell you.
That's our chat is blowing up, Larry, with requests and questions, and I want to kind of pay some tribute to the people that have come out to see our show. everybody's saying, that's awesome. Ho, this gave me the goosebumps. Can we get a assorted omen? Give me sight. Would you grace us with that by chance?
Sure. I think I did earlier, but Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. I, Lion-O, commend it. Damn it.
It's so good. You can never do it enough, Larry. I'm just telling you right now. Everybody's saying, I love those shows. We're getting a request for Thunder.
Sure. I'll do it, but you guys have to do it. Help me out at the end. Okay.
You got it.
You got it.
All right. I'll do and everybody who's watching this, at home or wherever you are, you join.
We got to all do it together.
Yeah. So I will do thunder, 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 and then everybody says Thundercats ho. Okay?
Here we got it.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Oh!
Yes.
Not bad.
Oh my god. It doesn't get better. It's hard to be ready for that, Larry, because we're captivated by the voice and your presence, and we're not Thundercats. We can pretend to be part of it. We can pretend like we're on Third Earth. You, my friend, you live the dream. You're the one on Third Earth leading us. Oh my goodness. People are saying you should join. People are saying you should join Cameo because everybody would hit you up for similar things like this. Everybody's just blown away right now. People want to know if you're a fan of earlier Rankin Bass stuff like the Rudolph stop motion animation or the Hobbit. Is that something you got into?
Yes, indeed. When I first even got the call from my agent saying you're going to audition for a Rankin Bass animated show, I thought, oh my god! I remember when I was a kid, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with Fred Astaire, as the narrator.
Yeah.
And Frosty the Snowman, Burl Ives, and all the other people. But I grew up with that too, just like you guys did with Thundercats. And then here I am in the auditioning booth, trying to get a job as a character in a Rankin Bass production. It was really something.
That's awesome. Yeah. We're getting comments. We love you, Larry. Thank you for giving me a wonderful childhood. Wow, so much respect for Larry after that. Thank you, Larry, for giving us a great childhood. Simply, Larry, Larry, you have an amazing voice, and I'm having goosebumps. Danny is saying, now my dog is looking at me weird after doing Thundercats. So.
Danny did it with us live. That's great. Awesome.
Neil Temple wants to know what did you think of Seth MacFarlane's impression of you on Robot Chicken?
Oh, Seth MacFarlane's a genius. I love Seth. In fact, I did a thing on Family Guy for him. As Lion.
Yeah, for sure.
Saw it, but Seth MacFarlane is a genius, and I just for him to even ask me to be on the show was a real thrill. And what was your question? I'm sorry, I didn't answer your question. Actually, did I?
Well, he just wanted to know what you thought of his impression that I guess he did of you on Robot Chicken.
It was funny. Well, it was I thought it was pretty close. It was pretty close to spot on, but I could still tell that Seth was doing it with a little something, not to try to sound exactly like me. I mean, we in the business, we kind of try to do that. You'll do an impression of somebody, but especially in like the animation world, you don't want to, just take somebody else's stuff and run with it. So I could tell, and he later told me that he said, yeah, I didn't want to try to sound exactly like you until I got you on the show. And so I don't know if everybody's seen it, but it was in one episode where where the guys from Family Guy are at in San Francisco for some reason. Griffin, what's his name? The star of the show, Family Guy, the father, Peter Griffin, and Quagmire or somebody. They're in San Francisco driving around. This is the scene that I was in, and Peter Griffin says something like, "Boy, I bet you find a lot of strange couples living together in this town. If you get my drift, huh?" They shoot to the interior of an apartment, which is apparently occupied by Lion-O, Chitara, and Snarf. And Lion-O is just kind of standing, staring off in the room. And Chitara comes by and she says, "What you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, nothing. Actually, it's something. I have this feeling that Mum-Ra is up to something, and I just don't know what it is. And if I can find out," and she said, "I'm going to the can." So she goes in there. She goes into the bathroom, and Lion-O looks around. And he takes out the Sword of Omens and puts it in front of him and says, "Sword of Omens, come to my hand. Give me sight beyond sight." He's aiming it at the bathroom.
That's hilarious.
At which point, Snarf comes walking. He says, "What you doing, Lion-O?" And Lion-O says, just nothing. I'm just, you want to get stoned?" That's the whole scene.
Oh, that's great.
You guys must have had a lot of fun moments when you were recording like that with some outtakes where you flub a line or you just say something and then it goes off the rails too, I imagine.
Oh, sure. Oh, I'm sure you've heard the outtakes, have you not, on YouTube?
Yeah, I know Jay and I have heard a bunch of them for sure, and my goodness, after a long day and you got a cold frosty pop in your hand and you listen to some of that stuff, it just busts you up.
Yeah, I know. Well, the funny thing about that is, of course, back when we were recording these things in the 80s, there was no internet, and anytime a recording engineers used to always save outtakes and take them home. Where else are they going to play them? I mean, this is true of television shows, movies, and you see them on YouTube now. The outtakes are the mishaps and things like that. So back then, we had no idea that anybody else would ever hear them. And one day, my son, 25 years later, says, "Hey, Dad, have you heard the outtakes?" I said, "What? No." So I listened to them. I thought, and I was really upset. I thought, oh my God. Because as I told you earlier, I'm very protective of, the Thundercats legacy and what it meant to the children who watched it. And I said, "Oh no, the kids are going to hear this and Lion-O cussing and stuff like that." And my son said, Tanner, he said, "Dad, those kids are 35 years old now, and they're going to love this stuff, In fact, that's how he talked me into doing Family Guy. I wasn't going to do that. I had them send me a script, and I read that thing I just said to you, and I thought, no, it's a little too, as we used to say back in the old days, a little too blue, a little too risque. You know what I mean? That's what we used to say about stuff that was too dirty." And so he said, "Dad, they're not 7, 8 years old anymore," which I hadn't thought about. I said to him, "Okay, I'll do this Family Guy thing." Well, first I said, "All right, have them send me the script and I'll see if I want to." I read the script and I said, "Absolutely not. I'm not going to do this." That's when he gave me the spiel about, the kids aren't kids anymore. So I did it. And then I sat around and waited for hate email, "Mr. Kenney, how could you do this to them?" But I never got any of that. It was all, "Hey, nice going, Larry." Funny stuff.
Well, a lot of us, Rob and I, we grew up with The Simpsons, right? That was kind of the first adult cartoon we were exposed to. Family Guy takes it up 10 notches, but again, I don't think it's anything disrespectful to Thundercats. I think it's just tongue-in-cheek humor, and it's adult humor. And like you said, we're all adults now, right? So it's funny, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Larry, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you've been a busy guy on the podcast circuit. I saw you did a stop with our good friends at the Canned Air podcast. You stopped and talked to Pixel Dan not too long ago as well. We're huge fans of both of those shows. So again, thank you for taking the time to chat with us, indulging all of our watchers and listeners with your stories and doing spot on lines and performances for them. I did want to give you a chance to let people know where they can find out more about you, where they can hear you next, and hopefully one day soon see you in person and shake your hand and wait an hour and a half to get an autograph.
Well, right now, of course, with COVID, there's not much going on Comic-Con wise, although I just did a great thing on Valentine's Day for GalaxyCon. where we had a virtual Comic-Con. People could write in and order prints or order whatever they wanted, as they would at a Comic-Con, come and get your autograph on different things. But I'm hoping we'll get back to Comic-Cons very soon. As a matter of fact, I'm scheduled for Nashville in April, I think 17th and 18th. We're all got our fingers crossed that, things are going to be safe by then. They're getting there, I think. But
that'll be nice.
Yeah, because I miss meeting everybody. I miss the Comic-Cons and everything. So, did I answer your question? I am.
Well, where can people reach out? Where can people reach out as well? Are you on Twitter? What other social media platforms might people be on if they just want to say a quick thank you and something of appreciation?
Yeah. I'm actually not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, but I can't figure out how to use it. And I'm 112, and that's old people, we old people. I'm sorry, bad grammar.
It's okay. Thundercats age differently than humans. It's like 7 to 1 or something.
Let me write that down. I love that line. But Facebook, that's where I do most of my wheeling and dealing. Facebook. I'm easy to find there, and I'll always answer you. I love hearing from people.
That's awesome. Again, I can't say thank you enough for taking the time to chat with us and talking to our viewers as well. Jay, I know you've got a big plate full of thank you to give Larry, so I'll let you do that before we let him to go free.
Hey, we're gonna meet Larry one day, I promise you. And I'm just so proud to say that I'm friends with Lion-O. Like, how cool is that, man? So thank you once again for chatting on Facebook, and it was very easy to get this meeting. And thanks for being on the show, and we'd love to have you on again sometime. Definitely.
Imagine how I feel. I can now say I'm friends with Rob and Jay.
Oh my goodness, that's a sound clip right there. That's the sound clip.
Yeah, that's the trailer to whatever we gotta sell next. There you go.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and to all the people who are watching, thank you for watching this and for watching Thundercats and all other stuff. Let's face it, if you people had watched that and kind of, became fans of it, I wouldn't be sitting here today, talking to you guys about it. So thank you all.
Wow.
Awesome. Thanks, Larry. We appreciate it. And I'll reach out to you after the show to say thanks. And if you need to share the link or see how this went, I'll make sure you get that too.
Thank you, buddy.
Cool. Take care. So, Jay, what did you think about that? My goodness. Can we end the show right now? Is that okay? I know we promised some big news, but I don't think whatever we have to say can beat that.
When we started the podcast and we got the idea of having guests on, I brought Larry up right away. I said, he's such a friendly guy. We have to get him on. Plus, the toys and all that stuff. Wow. It was so nice to be able to chat to him, not texting, I love texting him, but it was great to actually talk to him in person. What an awesome dude. And the Lion-O impression it's not even an impression, that's his voice, but it's exactly the same as it was in 1985. Like, exactly. That's crazy, man. Oh, what a guy.
It's cool. That's so cool. I do want to switch gears. While in the back of my mind, I'll continually think about those voices that he did for us in the lines. But we got to get to some. We've got questions, we've got big news, and of course, we've got action figure spotlight still to get through. Let's talk big news, Jay. We've been talking big news for a very long time. And look, Larry's watching the show, and he's
saying, that.
Everybody, I love you.
Thank you, sir.
Larry,
wow.
Again, you rock. Big news. We've been teasing this for I think a month now, and the reality is we've just been getting more and more big news every week. It seems something new is happening, and then it's like, well, we got more big news, but that's not the big news because there's new big news. And then the week after, be like, well, I can't tell you the big news, but there's more big news on top of the other newer big news. But I decided, you know what, we're going to share some news, not the initial news, but most of the news, which I think is pretty cool.
Okay, since I'm one of a few people that knows the entire news, I'm going to let you say, because again, I don't want to blow anything I'm not supposed to, but needless to say, I'll let you announce it. I just have to say, Rob and I have been working very hard, and again, thank you guys to all your support, because without the support of what you guys have given back to us, we wouldn't be able to make an announcement like this.
Maybe we could wait a week.
Stop it. Stop it.
Okay.
Stop playing with everyone. Let's just go. Get on with it.
Out with it, McCallum. Macklin, spill the beans. This show that you're watching, the Jay and Rob Toy Show, it's currently on. We live stream to YouTube and Facebook, and there's the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all that, like we said at the beginning of the show. But I've never been a YouTube guy. I've never tried to really build that subscriber count. It's only something we're doing now to help facilitate the show. I've always kind of made TV shows and documentaries and stuff. And so I thought, boy, it'd be pretty cool. The Jay and Rob Toy Show became a TV show. And that's going to happen now. So our endeavors the last 22 episodes, some of which are Patreon exclusive, but we've done 22 episodes. And we've managed to sell the show as a 10-episode season 1, 22-minute show of Jay and I talking dollies and the shelf life and being pro shelfers and all the goodness that you've come to know and appreciate from our weekly shenanigans. The Jay and Rob Toy Show is coming to TV, which is pretty cool.
You know what? I'm gonna brag a bit. I think it's damn cool, man. I never thought in my lifetime I would have a television show on network TV, and we do. And now, guess what? We're gonna have a second one. That's I gotta pinch myself sometimes, man. That this is something we're truly passionate about: video games, toys, all that stuff, and that our childhood discussions up to adulthood discussions have created and spawned this second TV show. It's awesome, and it's great that you guys want to hear us talking about this stuff. So, man, I'm pumped.
Now, what does that mean? Does that mean we're going to stop the live stream and podcast? No, we're still going to do this weekly. Some instances, what we talk about may get recorded and repurposed for the show, for the broadcast show. But by and large, what we do for the show will be recorded separately. Jay's got a bunch of camera gear at his house now. We're shooting it kind of remotely, but we're also going to include a bunch of footage that we created when shooting Action Figure Adventure. Now, some of that material, the backers of our Action Figure Adventure Kickstarter got to see as part of our after show. So it's really cool that we get to give that material a second life on broadcast television. Maybe some backer content will get to make it to TV around the world as well. Now, where are people going to be able to watch the show? That's the big question, of course. Well, we're still kind of, figuring out some of the finer details, but we have an agreement in place with our partners in Canada on Super Channel and Jinx Esports TV that, of course, carried Action Figure Adventure. But not only do we have international plans to roll it out outside of Canada, I can guarantee you that if you join our Patreon page, I think it's the $5 tier or higher, you're going to get episodes of the Jay and Rob Toy Show just as part of it, on top of everything else that we do on that. That way we can guarantee everybody can get in on it instead of having to wait for a release, 6 months down the road, as kind of, 6, 7, 8 months to who knows is the case with Action Figure Adventure, because it's still only available in Canada. But Jay, that's not the end of the news.
What?
What
are you talking about?
I have to correct you, my friend. You said you've got to pinch yourself because we've got 2 shows on network TV. That's actually incorrect. That is flawed. What? That is wrong. Because the reality is we have 3 shows. Action Figure Adventure Season 1 is airing. The Jay and Rob Toy Show will be coming out late spring, early summer. And another show, a brand new concept called 5 Favorite Figures, is set to debut this fall, featuring myself and my good friend Jay Bartlett. Jay, do you want to tell people the somewhat initial pitch for 5 Favorite Figures?
5 Favorite Figures. It's a pretty simple concept. Everyone loves countdown shows, right? So every episode, Rob and I are going to pick a genre. I don't know how that's going to work. Just say your 5 top 5 favorite hero figures, and then 5, and then Rob will do 5, and we'll go down to number 1. And I'm going to let you say the rest because I'm not going to articulate it as well as you are, Rob, since you're behind the production side of it. That's the initial, but the climax of each episode is super fun. So check this out.
Yeah, so we wanted to do a top 10 show, but there's so many top 10 shows. So we thought, well, why don't we do a top 5 show? But there's 2 of us, so you get 5 figures there. But with 2 people and 2 lists, you don't really get a definitive answer on which one best represents a theme. And how we decide those themes will be viewers like you. Again, if you want to come part of our Patreon community, it's the easiest way to kind of suggest themes, where it could be, you know, I want to see your 5 favorite Ninja Turtles, or 5 favorite figures from the 80s, or 83, or 92, or best, you know, top 5 favorite play features as shown. Jay will have his list and I'll have my list. But to decide who has the better list, we have to go to third-party experts. This is where it gets fun, and this is what truly separates 5 favorite figures from all the other countdown and list shows that are out there. We go to third-party experts, and Jay and I watch from a video feed or behind one-way glass as these experts walk into a room with a table, and all 10 figures will be laid out there. And these experts have to pick 5 out of the 10. And if they pick more of Jay's figures, then he wins. If they pick more of my figures, I win. And what makes it really special is that these experts aren't adult collectors like you and I, Jay. They're not toy store owners. They're not industry insiders. They are kids. We're going to get kids aged 4 to 12 who, frankly, you know, action figures aren't really the nom de jour for kids nowadays. We're going to get kids to come in, and they're going to decide whether you win the day or whether I win the day. And so it's a play test.
A really, really cool concept that we came up with, and it's going to be fun to see the live reactions of the kids. I'm sure they're going to be making fun of a lot of the figures, but kind of like a little friendly competition between Rob and myself to see who wins that week's episode. Man, I'm so excited to see the reactions of these kids and some of the figures that we picked. Man, I'm pumped. That's 3 TV shows, ladies and gentlemen. Now I got to super pinch myself now.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get punched in the mouth to realize you got 3 TV shows happening.
Wait, what?
But we're very excited. No, nothing. You didn't punch in the mouth.
Nothing. I want nothing.
Nothing like that. But yeah, so we're pretty busy behind the scenes, but you can see why that news was pretty big to us. We've already created Instagram accounts for 5 favorite figures and the Jay and Rob Toy Show. We're going to create a separate Facebook page for them as well, so that everything can kind of get organized instead of constantly being piled on the action figure adventure pages and profiles. So if you're on Instagram, go check out 5 favorite figures. It's spelled the American way because it'll be easier for the bigger audience. Remember, even though our graphics right now are spelled the Canadian way, favorite, that is, with a U. Let's get to some questions. I want to take a chance and thank our Patreon backers: Tim, Nathan, Bill, Matt, Jay, Danny, Ryan, Chris, Scott, Billy, Ben, Kyle, Nelson, Rodney, Nico, Adam, and Plunderlings. Your support is what has helped us get to this point. Thank you all so very much. And thanks everybody in the chat for all the kind words. It's really awesome. This week, guess who has a question for us, Jay?
Our good buddy Danny.
Yep. Danny has a question as well. Right. Actually, I got one from someone named Duncan as well. We'll get to Danny's first, though. If you could pick an action figure line that previously didn't have a movie or a TV show, which would you pick? And would it be live action or would it be animated?
You go first. I got to think.
For me, it's simple, and that's Mythic Legions. I know they've got a game coming up, but you said specifically TV or movie. And I would go animated because I think it would allow you to do more. It would keep the production budget stable, regardless of what gets depicted, instead of having to invest a ton more money in a different set piece or location. Live action would be cool, of course, but I don't know. I just really love animation. So I think a Mythic Legions animated show would be terrific, or Cosmic Legions for that matter.
Sure.
I can't really think of any other lines that I love or really look at that don't have a movie or TV show.
Well, let me help you there.
Okay.
McFarlane, who's just a wonderful toy company, makes a toy line for a little IP called Fortnite. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of this Fortnite. It's only the biggest video game in history.
Fortnite.
Fortnite has these colorful characters that they're kind of like Mythic Legions, right? They're kind of based off of there's homages to pretty much every character they have is an homage to someone else, right? There's a guy who looks like Firefly. There's the skull suit from Karate Kid. There's all their characters. And as each season begins in Fortnite, they have this really cool intro story. But I would like to see an animated cartoon that gives these characters a little bit more of a personality, because I think you have just this wonderful pool of characters that all deserve backstories. So as much as I don't play Fortnite anymore, I used to play Fortnite, I would love to see a Fortnite cartoon.
Yeah, I would actually probably get me into the game. I have yet to play Fortnite. I know of its status, its popularity, but I'm just disconnected. Part of that is time. I don't have a ton of gaming time, but if I could watch something, that would be good way, like an entrance drug into that whole world. Or Destiny. I mean, I'd love an animated Destiny show as well. I believe they had figures of that game too.
Oh yeah, the Destiny and Halo stuff is still going strong for sure. Yeah,
cool.
That would be a good one.
Let me get to this other question, then we can switch to action figure spotlight. This comes from our good friend Duncan, who messaged me on Twitter. He said, "Have you ever bought a figure just to have one, but you didn't love it?" I think this goes to the completionist mentality. Like, you just bought a figure because you needed to have it.
Sure.
But you didn't absolutely love the figure. Has that ever happened to you, Jay?
Yeah. I don't want to get any hate mail when I say this, but most of the troopers in Star Wars I've never been a fan of, being the Rebel soldiers or the Stormtroopers. I know Stormtroopers look cool, but to me, always buying the troopers, even the Cobra troopers, I'm not a huge fan of buying. And I know there's some people who love to army build and all that, but for me, it's always to pick up the Stormtrooper or the Cobra officer. It's just like, that's just me though. That's just me. So yeah, if I'm trying to complete like the new G.I. Joe line, you got to get the Cobra officers. There's 3 of them now. There's a Viper, and I'm not looking forward to plunking down $30 for just a generic soldier. Although they look great.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I get excited about figures. I get caught up in the completionist mentality, the anxiety of missing out and not being able to get the figure later. So I better get it now because, I can always sell it later if I don't want it on my shelf, taking up shelf space. But I mean, there's a ton of Masters figures, like Strong Arm is in like 1 episode. Do I really need the Strong Arm? I mean, Classics is a cool line, but do I really need Strong Arm as a character? Probably not. Chakotay's a cool villain. She's the villain in the only 2-parter of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and there's not a lot of female villains. But do I really need her? Does she really make me like super? Kind of, but not all that much.
I disagree with you there. I love that. That's what I love about collecting Star Wars, are those one-off characters. So I love that stuff. So I get what you're saying, but this is
I just don't need it. When we're in a time when I could have Transformers 86 figures, or I could have Strong Arm, one and knockoff.
Don't throw the 86 at me right now. Don't throw 86 at me. I know you're doing that.
It's thrown at you. It's thrown at you.
I don't want to hear it.
Well, everybody must know the rule of 3, which you've introduced when it comes to Transformers 86. You can't just have 2. Now you need to have 3 of them.
Yeah. And you know what is crazy? I have 2 Hot Rods, 2 Cups, and 2 Grimlocks from the 86 line. And I want 3 because I want Hot Rod in the package sealed. I want Hot Rod turning into Rodimus, and then I want Hot Rod's car mode. It's getting expensive. And Hot Rod's, of course, $10 more because he comes with like 1 or 2 more accessories. But the rule of 3, let's just forget about that. Move on.
To quote you, my friend, it's kind of greedy, don't you think?
Well, you know what? I was at Walmart for the first time since COVID hit the other day, and I went at 9 at night. Don't ask me why, but I went there, and I went to the toy aisles, and I see the despair. I see the Tatooine desert-like wastelands of the toy aisles. It's really depressing, man. It's really depressing.
Yeah, I don't even want to venture out to see that wasteland of.
You don't. There's nothing there. You know what's there? Transformers Redline and a few WWF figures, and moving on.
I'm good. Let's get to action figure spotlight. Jay, do you want to go first this week, or should I go first this week? What do you go first? Do you have your figure picked out?
Mine is ridiculous beyond anything that you've ever seen, ridiculous wise. Okay, It's a little bit of a backstory. I won't take up too much time here because we're almost out of time. However, on my personal YouTube page, I bought a Thanos Marvel Legends figure, and I hadn't read comics since the mid '90s, so I was trying to catch up on Thanos' story. And shout out to Glenn for helping me do that as well. But I just Googled heroes that have defeated Thanos, that have actually defeated Thanos himself, not a clone. You wouldn't believe this character that I found, and I heard the rumors of this Marvel hero that she actually existed. I didn't believe it. There is a character in the Marvel universe called Squirrel Girl, and yeah, and I'm like, no, there's not. No, there's not. There's not. And sure enough, there was. And then I started reading her lore and stuff, and it was just so ridiculous that I fell in love with the character. So naturally, as the #1 Squirrel Girl fan, I had to order Marvel Legends Squirrel Girl.
Let's see there. Oh, nice.
So that's her, and she comes with 3 different squirrels. I can't do this right left thing. I'm so terrible at it. There's some nice art on this side here. And if we flip it over, yeah, you can see the ridiculousness. Now, I'm not insulting anyone who's been a fan of this because she debuted in the 90s, I think. But just for me, I never heard of her before. And I couldn't believe, first of all, she defeated Iron Man, and then she defeated Thanos legit with her army of squirrels. It is so ridiculous and hipster. I had to have it.
I love that you are like a bona fide Marvel Legends collector now.
Oh, buddy, I'm all in. I got a serious problem. Serious problem.
I love it. Well, I don't have a long backstory to this other than some conversations that we had on our Patreon bonus episode where we talk a lot about superheroes and figures through the ages, from superpowers to Toy Biz Batman, Beyond, and Marvel Legends. And so I thought, you've been really digging the Spider-Man animated series that's on Disney Plus from the 90s. I don't know how far you got, and you're really into the Spider-Man figures. But I wanted to showcase this one. I don't know if you've got this far yet in the show with the Scarlet Spider. It's, again, the Toy Biz packaging. This character shows up in the animated series later on. You'll see it, but I've always loved it. It's Ben Reilly, and I love the suit. He's appeared in a bunch of video games, of course, too. But it's modeled after his Spider-Man the animated series appearance. So you can see the other characters there. But again, a Marvel Legends character and figure without being in the traditional Marvel Legends packaging. So Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, huge fan of it. Jay, what do you think?
That's really impressive, and that was always one of my favorite suits. The Spider-Man games throughout the years, I've purchased all of them and played them, although I haven't kept up with the comics. So a character like that, I didn't know anything about, but the suit's incredible. And I actually saw Heroes post that figure the other day, and it was actually, I think it was not Scott in the chat, but another buddy of mine, Scott, had already picked it up, and the post was only 3 minutes old. But I was seriously interested in that one. That's crazy. And you and I are both collecting the 1994 animated line. I think we've both completed it now. That is such a fantastic. The figures in that are fantastic, and I'm hoping that they do more waves, because as I'm going through the cartoon, you see Punisher and Morbius. I'm like, oh boy. Here we go.
They released Punisher on this gray kind of card already, which is wicked. But Morbius, 100%. I think I have Daredevil as well already, and I know I have Iron Man and Hawkeye. So
Daredevil, put me off a bit because he doesn't look like, I don't want to say my Daredevil, the red suit Daredevil. He's a little different, but he's still part of the Spider-Man line. So I can't wait for like the Chameleon. He's such a cool character.
Yeah,
he's really cool, and the Shocker.
Give me Rhino. I finally got Kingpin too, and I took Kingpin out, and he is a big boy. So if they can do someone the size of Kingpin, clearly they can do Rhino as well. So
and Hasbro's killing it with all their IPs, and I've talked about this a lot before, how they're all to scale. Even the Transformers, except Unicron, but for the most part, they're all to scale. The Joes are all to scale, and of course, Star Wars and Marvel Legends are all to scale with each other, and I'm such a huge fan of that. So Kingpin's he's huge.
That'll wrap us up for another episode, though, Jay. Where can people get at you on social media?
Social media, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube is my own personal toy channel. Just Jay Bartlett. Not just, but Jay Bartlett. I don't have any fancy Nintendo Quest J name or anything like that. I'm just Jay Bartlett. So thank you guys. I'm almost at 1,000 subs right now, which is a huge number for YouTube. That means that you start, to generate revenue. So I do appreciate everyone who's subbed, and I'll keep putting out the content. Thank you.
Well, people would have a hard time finding you because they wouldn't know if it's Nintendo Quest J, Action Figure Adventure J, 5 Favorite Figures J, the Jay and Rob Toy Show J,
Stadium J. There's that one. He's around sometimes.
Oh
Stadium.
yeah, him. Tinder Q J, Tender Q. Remember that guy? He got lost in Austin on 6th Street. We found
6th Street in Austin. What a week that night was.
Of course, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rob McZob, and on TikTok as well. And like I said, we have new Instagram channels and profiles set up for 5 Favorite Figures and Jay and Rob Toy Show, and of course Action Figure Adventure as well. And again, remember, the Jay and Rob Toy Show and 5 Favorite Figures, if you want to check out episodes of those, we'll release them sporadically, but you're guaranteed to get them digitally through our Patreon side. We may do Blu-ray discs down the road. We didn't want to do Kickstarters for these things. One, because there's not a lot of time coming up. We're already in production on the Jay and Rob Toy Show, the TV side of things. And we didn't want to just have to go, oh, here's a Kickstarter, go here. Just, it's easier to keep it in our Patreon. We believe that the Jay and Rob Toy Show and everything we're doing there with that community is the spine of all our content. So everything stems from it. Join us there. You'll get deleted scenes. You'll get extra episodes. It'll be awesome to have you aboard. And I should say our Patreon backers knew about this news at least a few days ago, and at some point earlier as well. So you get all the inside information as well, which is fun.
And if you guys go to Patreon, you might get to play with my Squirrel Girl toy. No way, man. She's mine. Forget it.
Well, we end every episode the same way, Jay. We say, for the love of toys and the warmth of scarves, which I am without, and I apologize to all my faithful Scarf Lord followers out there.
Oh.
I know. You didn't wear it the last time we recorded. We got called on it. They expect me not to have it, but you.
Listen. That shot you took of, I believe that's going to be one of the episodes of the new TV show.
Yeah,
because I had to wear a lav mic, and I knew you'd yell at me because it would rub. So that's why I couldn't wear my scarf. So we got called out though pretty hard.
It was pretty funny to see how much people pay attention to that.
I felt naked and cold.
But for the love of toys, and sometimes for the warmth of scarves, take care of yourselves.
And each other.
Because the best time of the day, Jay, is when?
Playtime. Whatever.
Have a good week, everybody.